Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick guide on Shadowmoon Boil Grounds, so we'll get started right away with the first boss. Probably the most complicated boss this instance, but she's not too bad. So to start, she starts in the middle of this platform, and she's surrounded by a bunch of purple runes on the ground. These, they don't do anything unless you stand on them, in which case they do a lot of damage to you, so don't walk over them. Next you have these dagger things that are falling from the ground. When they're in the air, they don't do anything, but once they hit the ground, they do this big pulsating AoE you can see there, which does a lot of damage, so don't get hit by that. Next, she'll summon an ad, and it spawns pretty far away from her. You want to slow it and stun it and kill it before it gets to her. Otherwise, I believe she gets healed. I've never actually seen it get to her. It doesn't have a lot of health, and like I said, it can be stunned and slowed, so it's not much of a challenge there. Next, she has this phase transition where she just ports to the middle, and you have to stand on one of these white circles around the ground, and she does a big explosion, and if you're not in this white circle, you're probably going to die. The white circles give you a buff that reduces the damage you take for the magic damage you take for about 80%, which makes that huge explosion she does survivable. Some of the runes turn white. They'll still do damage if you walk over them, and you don't want to try to stand on those for the buff, it'll just kill you. They turn white for an achievement, but for the purposes of just killing the boss, you can ignore that. Other than that, it's a pretty simple fight, just rinse and repeat. You should be able to get through with only one phase transition, but if you get another one, it's not too bad. If you get three, if you get to a third clips, you're going to have problems. That's probably going to be when your healer's running out of mana, and that means you're going to want to be want to look at your DPS, because it's probably pretty low if you're getting 3 transitions. Alright, moving right along to the second boss. This boss is probably the easiest boss in this instance. First thing you want to look out for are these tombs laying around the room. If you step on them, it'll spawn an ad. It doesn't have all that much health, and it's pretty easy to just tank. You can be CC'd too. But if you do spawn it, it's just extra damage going out, and extra healing that has to be done. Since it's a pretty easy mechanic to avoid, you might as well just not step on the stones and spawn ads. The first actual mechanic is this swirly spell he's casting. It just sucks you in if you're close to him, and he just teleport onto a random spot when he does it. It does some damage, pretty easy to avoid, just walk out of it. The next thing he does is this little phase transition, where he'll put you in a realm by yourself, and there's this ad. Once you kill it, it just spawns this little swirly thing, you click it, you come out, and there you go. Don't panic if you're the first one out. Like you can see, he just stands there until the tank comes out, so you don't have to worry about it. He's not going to come over and smack you in the face and kill you. That would kind of suck. That's about it for mechanics. All else he does is this barrage spell, which should be coming up here shortly. There it is. It's just a barrage. He just throws down a bunch of AoE zones, and you can just move out of them. They don't even do that much damage, so you can take a few ticks while you're getting out of them. And that's it. It's a pretty simple boss. You just burn it down and get your loot. And there you go. We will move on to the next boss. Alright, Bone Maw, my personal favorite. Mostly because he drops my bow, so I'm biased, but that's okay. He's a pretty simple boss. The first thing you gotta look out for is these void zones he puts down on the ground. They'll do a fair bit of damage if you stand on them, but they also root you in place, which is going to come in handy later. The next ability he's going to do is this body slam, which means he's just going to hit the ground where there's that void zone, so just get out of that and you won't get hit by it. It doesn't do too much damage, but I mean it is damage that you can easily avoid, so you don't want to get hit by it. And then here's the inhale. What he does here is he just sucks in this whole platform here, and you can just stand in these void zones he put down earlier, and you'll take some damage, but it's not that much, but it roots you in place, so you can just sit there and DPS instead of running around like this mage, so he's not really doing anything. Next are these ads that spawn. They're going to spawn on the left and right side of the entrance, and they're going to body slam right as they spawn, along with the boss, so there's not going to be too many spots to stand. Pretty much behind these pillars that are next to the entrance, standing near those are going to be your safe spots, or on the very edges of the left and right side. Again, it doesn't do too much damage, so if you get hit by it, don't worry about it. The ads, you want to kill them. They're going to be doing just damage to the group, and a fair bit at that, so you want to make sure you kill them. They're pretty low. They're just the ads from the trash going up to this fight, so you already got them down to like 30% or something. So Doesn't take too long to kill them. And then next, the boss will periodically, and the ads for that matter, if they're still up, will periodically go under and then move locations around this platform. Which, I mean, it's not that big a mechanic. It's pretty easy. You should make sure you're zoomed out far enough to be able to see where it spawns up. Some spell animations, like Glaive Toss, because it's really slow, if you cast it at the right time, it'll follow the boss like underneath, and you can see where the Glaive Toss lands, so you'll know where the boss is going to pop up before he actually gets there. So if your group's paying attention, they can use that information too, to their advantage, to see where he's going to be and get prepared. But yeah, that's this fight. That's it. It's a pretty simple fight, in fact. The only thing you really got to worry about is your healer not being able to keep the group up from standing in the void zones. But if you can't do that, I'd be worried about him. The only other thing I wanted to say about that fight is the inhales. They sometimes will just hit the tank, even if he kind of runs out. Yeah, I think it's just a bug. I've had my tank on the other side of the platform, and he still gets inhaled and takes huge damage. It won't one-shot him, though, so don't have to worry about it too much. Alright, and the last boss, Ner'zhul. He's not too bad. He's only got 3 mechanics you have to worry about, so shouldn't be too much trouble. The first one is this Malevolence he's going to cast. It's just this huge frontal cone that you want to dodge. And that's it. It's going to do a good bit of damage, so don't stand in it. The next mechanic is this pillar that's on the bottom right-hand screen there. It's going to do a pulsating AoE if you're near it. You'll always get hit no matter what from it. It just does pulsating AoE, but if you're within something like 15 or 20 yards of it, it'll do significantly more damage, so you definitely don't want to get hit by that. The next mechanic is this line of skeletons walking by. The shadow trailing behind them is going to kill you in about 2 seconds, so you don't want to get in that at all. The idea here is you kill one of those skeletons, and it opens up a column here that you can walk through cleanly without taking damage from that. And the tricky part there is the Malevolence that he casts. You want to make sure that the group is grouped up so that the tank can face the boss away and doesn't hit the entire group with that Malevolence, because that will probably wipe you. And there can also be these pillars that spawn during that. Usually they won't spawn until the very trail end of it, so you should be fine. You'll be able to survive a few ticks of it without too much trouble. But that's this fight. That's it. Just avoid the pulsating AoEs, make sure you face Malevolence in the right direction, and make sure you kill the skeletons. The problem with this is in pugs, I guess, is coordinating. Just make sure before you pull that you designate one person to mark the skeletons, so that everyone knows which one to kill. For this fight, I was on Skype, so I just said, hey, kill this one or whatever, or just kill the one I'm attacking. But yeah. It's pretty simple. They die pretty quick. So you can solo them. I've done it before. So if you're good enough, then you don't have to worry about it too much either. But yeah, that's Shadowmoon Burial Grounds. Hope this helps, and I will see you next time.